Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health. Sad news in the rock and roll world today. Eddie Van Halen, dead at the ripe old age of 61 from cancer. And all the talk around town is, oh, he put up such a valiant fight. And I'm sick and tired of all of this cancer baloney. What people should be talking about is holy smokes, if Eddie Van Halen, whose net worth was over $100 million, couldn't beat cancer, then what chance do I have? And why is cancer treatment so horrible? And why are the outcomes so pathetic? And what the heck is going on with cancer treatment? That should be the conversation, but it never is. Because we've been socialized for the last 108 years to believe that the medical doctors, the MDs, have the secret decoder ring to all things medical, and if they can't figure it out, nobody can. And when they fail, well, it's only a matter of time until they figure it out. And that's simply not the case. Let's dig down into it. There's a lot to know and understand. So a number of years ago, I was interviewed by an organization that was going around the country interviewing holistic doctors, and I spoke about a research project that showed that chemotherapy was ineffective and should be abandoned. It has upwards of 90 million views now, so I think I hit on a nerve. And like the fella said, that the truth will last forever, but a lie only for a moment. You're welcome to your own opinion, but not your own set of facts, ladies and gentlemen. Cancer treatment in the United States of America and Canada and all industrialized nations, because it is exclusively in the domain of the medical doctor and the pharmaceutical industry, is horrible. It's horrible. It has a horrible track record. Every day in the U.S., there are 4,620 new cases of cancer and 1,630 deaths approximately. Is this a good track record? No. It is, in fact, a horrible track record. Projected cancer cases in 2020, 1.9 million. 1.9 million. The incidence of cancer is going up. It's not going down. And you have been fed, statistical shenanigans in order to make you think otherwise. Here's data from the National Cancer Institute. And if you look on their website, here's what they tell you. They tell you that if now in the 21st century, 2020, 89.7% of the people who get breast cancer are still alive after 5 years. Well, that seems like a remarkable progress, right? Fantastic. 90%, let's round it up. 90% of people who get breast cancer are still alive after 5 years. That's just remarkable, isn't it? Well, there's two things to talk about here. Number one is the 5-year survival rate. The cancer treatments developed and delivered by the allopathically oriented, pharmaceutical centrist medical doctors, they gave up decades ago even mentioning the word cure. Now, according to them, and I'm quoting directly from the National Cancer Institute, the 5-year survival rate is the percentage of people in a study or treatment group who are alive 5 years after they were diagnosed with or treated for a disease such as cancer. The disease may or may not have come back. So they can still have cancer, and it's considered a positive. It's considered a positive treatment outcome. It's nuts, number one. Number two, when the American Cancer Society, the National Cancer Institute, when the National Cancer Institute shows you these data for the survivorship of breast cancer, 90% survival rate, it is a relative survival statistic, not an absolute survival statistic. Relative survival statistics compare the age of death of somebody with a disease to the age of death of somebody in the same age group who didn't have disease. And here's how that works out. Let's say we had 1,000 people who get cancer, 900 die and 100 live. That is a 90% absolute death rate. a 10% absolute survival rate, right? But let's say that 80% of the general population in the same age bracket die from other things. 90% minus 80% equals a 10% relative death rate and a 90% relative survival rate. So we have magically transformed a 90% death rate into a 90% survival rate. It's nonsense. But like the fella said, there's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. Don't believe me? Take a look at this. These data from the National Cancer Institute's Surveillance Epidemiology and End Results Program. The same organization that told us that 90% of people who get breast cancer survive breast cancer and isn't that great and it's a wonderful world. It's not true because it's relative survivorship, not absolute survivorship, and I can prove it. In 1975, deaths from breast cancer, 67,928. 2014, deaths from breast cancer, 188,812. In 1975, this represented 10% of the population got breast cancer, 3.1% died from it, 13% got it in 2014, 5.9% died from it. So how can the trend be going up if 90% of women who get breast cancer survive it? These data are in conflict. Well, they're not from a statistical point of view because the 90% survivorship is a relative survivorship, not an absolute survivorship, and it is completely misleading to the general public. But don't worry, it gets worse. Again, remember, you're welcome to your own opinion, but not your own set of facts. These are the facts. Small cell lung cancer survivorship, well, not so good after 5 years. 96% of the patients who are afflicted with this are dead by year 5. Ovarian cancer, 67% are dead by year 5. Pancreatic cancer, 98% are dead by year 5. Prostate cancer, 69% are dead by year 5. Rectal cancer, 91%. No, 91% are dead by year 5. Stomach cancer, 98% dead by year 5. Colon cancer, 93% are dead by year 5. Esophageal cancer, 100% are dead by year 5. Non-small cell lung cancer, 96% are dead by year 5. Kidney cancer, 92% are dead by year 5. These numbers do not bode well. I mean, and any other industry that had failure rates like this would be out of a job. The only reason the conventional medical industry maintains its position at the top in spite of these monstrous failures is because it's a self-regulating, self-policing industry with no competition, for goodness sakes. Now, you don't even have to be a statistical expert or a medical genius to figure this out. All you have to do is use street smarts. Ask yourself these questions. How many people do you know who have gotten a cancer diagnosis? How many? How many of them are still alive? Has it been more than 5 years? And oh yeah, by the way, what's their quality of life like if they are alive and being treated, and or if they died from cancer? What was their last year of their life like? Again, this isn't rocket science. Follow the money, baby. Remember, in 1912, Congress granted the American Medical Association exclusive control over who could and who couldn't practice medicine. That law is still in place. It's a hostile takeover. It was a hostile takeover of the practice of medicine kept in place by the gigantic profits of the pharmaceutical industry. Did you know that oncologists get a piece of the action when they prescribe a chemotherapy drug? Did you know that? The only classification of medications where that's legal. So, you know, the hospital and the doctor buys the chemotherapy drug for $2,000. They sell it to the patient for $10,000 and they split the difference. Split the profits. Isn't that just a wonderful thing? By the way, this trend is continuing. Again, it's good to be the king. Profits are going to be huge, even though treatment outcomes are horrible. And, let's not really pay any attention to the published research. This is the published paper that I talked about when I got the 90 million plus views on the YouTube channel. This was published in 2004. The title was The Contribution of Cytotoxic Chemotherapy to 5-Year Survival in Adult Cancer. For the layperson, this was How Well Does Chemotherapy Work in Adults Who Have Cancer? It was published, by the way, in the journal Clinical Oncology, a very prestigious cancer journal. Here were the results. The overall contribution of chemotherapy to 5-year survival in adults was estimated to be 2.3% in Australia, 2.1% in the USA. The conclusion, you ready? You sitting down? It is clear that chemotherapy only makes a minor contribution to cancer survival. To justify the continued funding and availability of drugs used in cytotoxic chemotherapy, a rigorous evaluation of the cost effectiveness and the impact on the quality of life is urgently required. Now, you think the pharmaceutical industry is going to be good with that? I mean, published, peer-reviewed 16 years ago. Think it's changed? Sadly, it hasn't. Since January 1st, 2020, approximately 21 million people have died, not from cancer, but from chemotherapy. And I'm the quack? Practicing dangerous medicine? You've got to be kidding me. The only way that a situation like this can exist is inside of a self-policing, self-regulating medical monopoly, which we've had since 1912, and it's about time that it stopped. Different people need to be brought to this table. The licensed naturopathic doctors, the Ayurvedic practitioners, the herbalists, the botanical medicine practitioners, traditional Chinese medical doctors, acupuncturists. Everybody needs to be brought in. Because obviously, conventional medical doctors have dropped this ball. Their treatment strategies deliver horrible outcomes. And yet, the next cancer breakthrough is promised right around the corner every year. For the last 50 years, they've been telling us that, and it's nonsense. It's time we opened up the medical markets here in the United States, North America, and, if I may be so bold to speak for the European Union. We need hospitals and universities to allow, universities to do research on holistic medical treatments. We need hospitals to allow holistic medical practitioners to have access. We need it desperately. But it's not going to happen unless we make a noise. You can learn more about many different aspects of holistic medicine, science-based, clinically verified alternatives to drugs and surgery at my website, riseupintohealth.com, where we can also band together, form a loose-knit coalition of the informed, and perhaps make a political difference. I am and always will be your steadfast advocate for health, Dr. Peter Glidden. Hope you learned a thing or two. God willing, and the creek don't rise. I'll see you around campus.